And welcome to this first ever lesson that we're going to discuss for getting passive income against options. Now, if you're brand new to options, don't worry, we're also going to go through some basic definitions and everything, but this is all about how to get passive income from covered calls. So let's go ahead and get into this. So the first thing you must familiarize yourself with is the call option and the put option. Now, call up and put down. Okay, I always learned that when I was taking my Series 7. They always talked about that, in the instructional videos that I was watching, because call up, right? If you're buying a call option, you want the stock to go up. If you're buying a put option, you want the stock to go down. So a put option essentially gives you the right, but not the obligation, to sell 100 shares of stock at a specified price, which is the strike price, up to or before the expiration day. Same as the call option, the only difference is that you have the right to buy 100 shares of stock at a specified price, known as the strike price. So a call option, you buy a call option, for example, let's say the stock's at $45 and you think it's going to $50 per share by a certain day. Okay, so you believe that over the next month, let's say that's when the expiration day is, you're betting that the stock will be above $50 per share, because that's the most you can lose when you're buying a call option, is the premium. Now, if the option is in the money upon expiration, then you win, and you get not only the premium, that's what you paid, but you get a profit on top of that. Same with a put option. Anytime before the expiration day, let's say you have a stock at $55 per share, you buy a put option, it gives you the right to sell 100 shares at the strike price. So let's say the stock goes down to 45, but you own a put option. You can sell your shares at 50, profit the difference, or you could actually close out the options contract, just buy and sell, because you're buying to open, you can sell to close. So you can either do that, or you can actually exercise the option upon the expiration day. So it's up to you how you do that. Now, the easiest thing to do if you're a buyer of a call option is to just close it out, just sell it on the open market. Same with the put option. The easiest thing to do if your put option goes in value, like let's say you buy a put at a $50 strike price, the stock's at 55, the stock finishes at $45 per share upon the expiration day or close to it, you should just sell that, in my opinion, and then get the cash for it, because that intrinsic value is already built in, and it's the easiest way to go. But that's for buying options. Now, for every buyer, there's a seller, right? And so when we're thinking about call options and put options, what we're looking at here is that you have what's called the covered call rider, which would be for somebody buying a call option. Somebody's willing to sell you that at a specific strike price, which means if the stock goes above the strike price before expiration, the seller of the option owes you 100 shares. Now, the reason it's called a covered call is because your shares cover the purchase of not the purchase, but they cover the delivery of those shares. And so if you're just selling a call option without having 100 shares of stock, that's called a naked call. And a naked call option, we could get more into that down the road here, but basically it's an unrisked, unlimited loss position. And so you can lose pretty much anything, any amount. If the stock's trading at 50, you sell a call option at 55, and the stock goes to 75 before the expiration day, now you're in a world of shit. Okay, pardon my French, but you're in a very bad situation when it comes to a naked call option. Now, the worst case if you sell to open a call option, you collect the premium, right? We're going to get into more of this in just a minute, but you collect the premium, and then that's your maximum profit up to the strike price. So if the stock goes to 75, worst case, you just have to sell your shares at $55 per share, or the strike price that we mentioned. Same with the put option. Now, if you sell a put option to open, you have to sell, or you have to buy your shares at the strike price, because the person has the right to sell their shares to you. Since you're bullish, you're willing to buy the stock at the strike price. Okay, so 100 shares of stock for every put option. Now, when it comes to the strike price, this is the price the option must be above in the case of a call, or below in the case of a put on expiration day, or it will be considered worthless. The expiration day after the market closes is when the option ceases to exist and has zero value. So every metric you're going to learn about the options Greeks, like time value, which is how much time is left in the option, intrinsic value, implied volatility, we're going to talk about all of that more. But what it really comes down to on the final date of expiration is the only value that's left in the option. Since there's no more time, for example, there's no more theta value or time value, there's only intrinsic value on the expiration day. So if the option is in the money by $5 per share, if the call option, let's say it's $50 strike and the stock's at 55, that's the intrinsic value. And so that's the value that the option would be trading at going into the close on expiration day. So you could sell and close out that position before the market closes or exercise the option. It's up to you. Same thing with the put option as well. Now, a covered call, we just talked about this, but reinforcement, right? We want to get good at this. We want to go over as many examples as possible. And really, if you're a beginner, no worries. We're going to get you set up here, and we're going to look at everything you need to do to sell 100. The first thing, if you're doing a covered call, go buy 100 shares of your favorite stock. Is it Apple? Okay, that's going to be about, what's it trading at? $150 per share. You have to put up $15,000 in collateral roughly if it's trading at $150 for Apple, but you have the right to sell one covered call against those shares. And so it's something to consider if you're looking at passive income and how you could potentially get that for your portfolio. So what you would want to do then is really, once you purchase the shares, you go out and you start looking at the option strikes. And so the option strikes, there's going to be, not all stocks have options, but the ones that do, like if you're buying 100 shares of Apple, you go ahead and you look at the strike prices and you say, okay, which strike would I like to sell? I bought the shares at 150. Can I sell 160 strike, 170 strike? That's a month out. Now, when you're doing that, your shares are basically locked up unless you close out the options position. Now, if the stock doesn't really move or goes down, what's going to happen to that option? Since you're selling a call option, the value will go down. Now, it will go up in the event that the stock price goes up. And if there's some kind of news or implied volatility increases, you're going to see those, let's say earnings is coming up, right? That's one thing that can increase implied volatility. We'll get more into that. It's more, complex. If you're just starting out, you're probably confused, but, I'm throwing all these terms at you, right? But what you want to really look at, though, the simple math here, you first buy 100 shares, then you start looking at a strike price to sell. If you bought your shares at $150, you can sell with a strike price of, let's say, 170, 175 for Apple, or 160. That's maybe a month out to expiration. You collect the premium, the income is yours, and then from there, all you really have to do is wait things out. Now, if the stock goes above the strike price, let's say it's 160 upon expiration day, you simply sell your shares at that price and you profit from that. So essentially, the next thing to consider here is, when you're looking at specific examples like we were just discussing, let's go ahead and go over another one though. 100 shares of XYZ stock that's trading at $50 per share when you purchase. So that's what you just did. You just went out and spent $5,000 total, 100 times 50 to buy XYZ stock. You believe the stock price will not go above $55 in the next couple of months. So you sell a November 4th expiration, $55 strike call option against your 100 shares and collect $500 premium for doing so. Now, since this option is out of the money, that is, pretty sizable amount of premium you receive there relative to the size of the position. That's 10%. Now, this is just hypothetical, so it's important to keep that in mind. Typically, you're not going to receive 10% of the trade value for an out-of-the-money option. That's hardly, I don't even think that ever happens, really. That's pretty substantial, 10% for the total trade value. You put up $5,000, you're receiving $500. But keep in mind, this is just an example. So the only thing that you need to remember here is that the premium is yours, no matter what, okay? So you will keep that $500 if the stock goes down to $1 per share. You will keep it if it goes bankrupt. You will keep that premium if the stock goes to $100 per share. So the important thing then is that if XYZ never hits $55 per share, you keep your 100 shares in the $500 premium for selling the option. If it rises to 60 and the option is exercised, you lose your 100 shares at the strike price of $55 and keep the premium, like I said, $500. Total profit plus the $5 share price appreciation. So $1,000 total profit. So you have, the share price appreciation going from that $5 spread and then plus the $500 premium. So it's pretty basic to figure out. That's your max profit on the trade. Now let's take a look at some live examples of covered calls. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here.